Hi, hello and welcome back to another Onkruid video, welcome back to another unedited Soulstone Survivors video, and welcome to the Flurry of Flurries build. Let's go for a curse difficulty. Oh, do we want to go for a curse? Yeah, let's go for a curse difficulty. Max curse difficulty, max curse difficulty. We don't learn from our mistakes on the Onkruid channel. I say that because the previous video, if you haven't watched that, was also one where I went back to max curse difficulty after not playing on it for a while. And I just got my shit kicked in rather quickly by the game. They really were like, yeah, no, you can't do this anymore. You've done it once, it's not gonna happen again. Let's prove them wrong this time. Let's make sure it happens again. The flurry build. What we're gonna try to do is get a flurry of flurries out there. So we're really gonna try to fill up that action bar down here with flurry all the way. Because we know that that is a spell that applies a whole lot of hits in quick succession and therefore applies a whole lot of negative effects in quick succession and therefore is capable of doing tremendous amount of damage in quick succession, and that's what we need to achieve victory in Soulstone Survivors, of course, which we have done quite a lot already. We actually have achieved everything there is to achieve in the game, except for the let's go for Chaos Bolt for now, but we will definitely want to replace it with Flurry if we can, except for the 500,000 enemies slain, and that's where we're still working towards. That's why we can do whatever we want actually in these videos, because the only thing we need to do is kill enemies to progress into a shape or way or form that we want to progress in. So we have all the time in the world to just do some random shit, do some random runs, try what's fun, try out something new, try out something crazy, and we will just all be fine and a-okay and having a blast. I hope you guys still are, because I am at least. And I will be later today when I go out for dinner with my colleagues. I'm not having such a blast about the fridge installing people. Because, I mean, of course, it's their job. They probably have a lot of other things they have to do today still. So it's just a very unpredictable time zone, or a very unpredictable margin for when they will actually show up. But just giving me a 4-hour margin for when they might show up is just so sad for me. Because that means that for like 4 hours I can't really leave the house. I have to stay here. Which is, I guess, okay. I shouldn't be whining about it all that much, but it's just a little bit sad. Because, you know, I have some plans in my life. I also have some things that I want to do sometimes. No flurry to be seen so far. And now we know that this doesn't increase my chance of poisoning the enemies, but it does increase my damage of poison. So I guess that is fine. That's okay. Scent of Blood is definitely going to be nice in combination with the flurry, if we do ever get a flurry. Right now we are just getting like a really strong berserker gladiator, berserker I think it is, build, and that's also nice, but that's not necessarily what we were looking for at the start. We wanted to meme it up. We didn't necessarily just want to achieve like a regular old victory. A more frailty, make the frailty more effective rather. We're all about those negative effects in this build, of course, which would normally be applied by Flurry. But where is Flurry, I hear you ask? And my answer is, I don't know either, man. I just fly the drone. Increased potency would be okay if we were not going... That was a stupid upgrade pick. If we were not just going for Flurries all around. But if we don't get one quickly, then we might need to rethink our game plan and just go for a victory after all. Because we do have like the keys to the kingdom for a very strong build here. We have like almost all the right abilities already. Which is kind of emphasized even further by how quickly the elites over here are dropping like flies. So more magnetic. We need to upgrade or level up fast to get to the flurry actually. I don't want to keep the body slam. But it's such a great upgrade. Alright, maximum health. Sure, that helps out our body slam damage for a while. But it also helps us out when we do eventually get... like just one flurry. Is that too much to ask? Just like one iteration of the skill that we are trying to get 6 of? They make it difficult on us to actually put our video ideas to good use and to actually try to use a video idea like we meant to set out or like we set out to do. What else do I have planned for today? Bit of reading, bit of light reading if at all possible. I would really love to read some in my book. That's definitely what I am gonna do once the fridge people actually do arrive. I'll stay downstairs if they need me, but I'll just be reading in my book a little bit. I don't think they will need me though, because I am quite an unhandy person. I have 2 left hands and I can't do like I don't want to keep Titan's Cleaver. I want Flurry. Where's the Flurry? Please, just give me some Flurry. Oh, our prayers have been answered. There's the first one. Only like 20 more to go. That paladin needs to die ASAP because it's gonna cause us a lot of difficulty if we don't get rid of him sooner rather than later. So more burn damage. I guess now we should be able to apply some negative effects to the bosses already though, but we need more flurry. Come on, don't get knocked up into... Oh yeah, alright. Get out of here, Titan's Cleaver, we don't need you anymore. Double flurry already, beautiful. Let the poison and the burn stack up if possible. Still looking for debilitating plague and things like that. Damage increase for our flurry skills, yes sir. Alright, come on, we got this. The build is shaping up. We've almost gotten rid of this first set of lords, which is not really true, but it's what I tell myself to feel better. Our prayers really do get answered. Maybe God does exist after all. Multicast is fine for the flurry. Everything is about the flurry in this run. And I'm not talking about the McDonald's ice cream, which is okay, but it's not something I would go out of my way for to get, I think. Then again, I have only eaten it like once or twice in my life, maybe really a McFlurry. I know that a lot of people are like really into it and really love it. Something changed in our damage, that's for sure, because those lords all of a sudden really just fell by the wayside quickly. Area effect on our flurry is of course nice because our build is focused on flurry. If somebody would like to comment on this video how often in this video I actually said the word flurry, that would be greatly appreciated. Should have taken a swift there, but I am kind of blindsided looking only at flurry upgrades and all the rest doesn't really matter. And there we go, the first set of lords completed. Let's see how quickly we actually get rid of a tower. That's always a nice little damage test. I can see that some negative effects are being stacked up, especially bleed. So I think we should maybe, if possible, keep like 1 cent of blood in the mix. Don't get stuck on enemies. Because I think that will really increase our attack speed by a large margin, considering the amount of bleed we are applying. Is it like total stacks of bleed? Or for each stack of bleed on nearby enemies? So it's not like it's about... different enemies or separate enemies. No, just all stacks of bleed on one enemy will also still increase my cast frequency upgrade, so that's fine. How do the lords fare against this build? I would presume not so great. Maybe by now they can still stand a little bit of a chance, survive for a while, but after a while, if we really get all the upgrades we need in terms of applying negative effects and stuff, I think they don't have a chance at all. Look at that, it's definitely stacking up. Their health bars are not yet really melting, but they are also not surviving all that long either. Damage increase is of course not really what we're looking for, because we're not looking for flurry to actually apply raw damage. We're looking for it to apply a whole lot of negative effects, but still, when I see flurry, I get flurry. Lethality is also okay, I guess. Oh, there's a Dark Knight, Dead Knight, whatever you want to call it, or whatever it is called rather here. We need to get rid of that quickly. Don't need any of these. Damage increase for area. Yes, please. I keep telling you that we don't need raw damage, and then I keep picking the damage upgrades because it just seems like they are the best options right there. Area effect, that's a lot better. Our flurry is about to be covering the entire map, I think. It's already quite a broad beam. Oops. My bad. Poor play. Not even mad at the game or at the bosses. I just could have dodged better there. I need to move out as quickly as possible from here. There we go. Dodge that attack at least. Alright. I actually did something crazy in the last episode. I edited it. I edited a Soulstone Survivors video again. Just like very small at the end to show you that I was just being a salty cunt. And that I actually did get hit by just another ability that was fired off by the enemies, but my view was obstructed because of my own army of skeletons. They all stood on top of the red circle, and therefore I didn't even spot it before it was way too late already. So I guess I should retract my statement and my angry comments on the game, because it actually did nothing wrong. It was all just my fault. Paladin, not today, bro. I don't feel like dealing with you today. Thank you very much for dying so quickly. Which is also what I say to my patients in palliative care. That's fucked up. Not something you should say. I think that however long you work in like healthcare or in any job that has to do with people that die eventually, I think it never gets like easy to have people in your care or well, that are kind of reliant on you in any way, shape or form, die. I'm thinking about, like, for example, medical workers in foster homes, or well, in elderly homes, some for the elderly I mean. I'm thinking about oncologists or psychologists that work in hospitals on like the floors where they treat a whole bunch of terminal patients. Losing a patient, or just losing like a person, a life, is I think something that never gets easy. It gets easier, but I don't think you can ever completely live in the acceptance of like, alright, a life is lost and I am completely fine with that, it doesn't hurt me at all. And it's pretty much the human condition, I think, but that is like the beauty of the human condition. You can argue that some people with sociopathy, with that disorder, with a sociopathic personality disorder, or just sociopathic disorder, it's not a personality disorder, that they might feel no remorse, no regret, no feelings at all when somebody in their near vicinity dies. But that's, I think, also still maybe a little bit of the severe cases, although I'm not an expert in that field. We have a potent build here. Never underestimate Flurry, which is exactly what I did when the ability first got released. I never took it because I was like, hey, it does no damage, but that was before I was negative effect build like I am right now. Do I ever want to work in those kinds of settings? Yeah, I definitely think so. I think it's a very... I am interested in existential therapy, and I think people that are like living their last days, their last hours even, existential therapy can often, or just talking about existential subjects is important. It shouldn't be avoided just because you feel like, oh, they already have enough struggles, they are maybe about to die, so talking about death and stuff is not gonna matter for them. I think it's quite the opposite. I think even in those last hours, it is very important to be open about the subject. To also, for example, talk about meaning in life, and talk about whether they experienced a meaningful life. Maybe have them share some of their most meaningful moments. I think they can really provide like a beautiful, beautiful approach towards the end of someone's life. So yeah, I would definitely feel a-okay working with people at like the end of their journey, at the end of their story. And I would love to hear their story as well. Oops, didn't dodge there. So for example, cancer patients or terminal patients of other kinds, or people applying for euthanasia, for taking their own life in a medical way, in a medical context, because they can't live with the suffering anymore, whether it be physical or mental. I think that's also a very, very interesting population to work with. And in those populations, I think one of the worst things you can do is try to convince them otherwise. Try to say like, no, there's still so much to live for, you know, you still have this and this and this. Because that is not really feeling with your patient. That's not empathy. That's bringing your own ideas into the session. No, you really have to move yourself into their point of view. Into a point of view of hopefully already like accepting their fate because they chose for it. And then help them in that acceptance and in making it as easy as possible for their family members. A lot of people, often I think, find it kind of egocentric and find it kind of a bad move. They feel betrayed, they feel left behind when one of their family members asks to be put down, to say it in extremely controversial and bad terms, I think, just put to sleep, to be kind of calmly laid to rest, really. A lot of people feel like, no, just stay with us for the next couple of years if you can, but you have to kind of realize that those people, when they have come to the point of wanting or of accepting, like generally just regular old accepting of death in their life, you have to realize like, okay, this person really, really is suffering, and if this is what he needs to be put out of his or her misery, we kind of have to accept that. We have to live with that. We can't force this person to stay with us for like a couple months more, even though that would maybe give us some more time to reminisce about beautiful moments with him, but you are keeping him alive, him or her, throughout like suffering. And it's for your own good, then maybe I think also that you let them go, really. Yeah, that's what it's all about, right? Accepting and letting go. Because I think that otherwise, if you keep them here for another month, sure, you have some more memories, but are those really going to be the memories you want to remember? In multiple cases, I presume that person will probably not be the same person as the person you loved throughout their life, because they will start to really like their health will start to diminish. They will start to become less and less healthy and less powerful, and maybe even less and less present. It's not a great sight to behold, I think. It's never an easy process as some member of the family when someone in your family is dying, is on their last couple of breaths. But I think letting go and starting to accept it and already giving it like a place in your head, really trying to process it already before the person has actually passed away. I think that is kind of like the greatest service you can actually provide to your family member. Not keeping them alive for your own personal gain. But it's of course easier said than done, and it's especially easy for me to just talk about that. Max curse difficulty, and still we cleared out this floor quickly enough to get into endless mode if we would want to. This really was a strong build. A strong build, a cool build, with some heavy topics on the sideline though. I'm sorry if I dampened your mood, but I think it's just the topics that should be talked about. Existential topics shouldn't be avoided. They should be put on the table, open, naked, so that we don't have to be afraid when we get confronted with them later in life. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.